Once upon a time, a distant memory. It's like synergy. Life the hardest teacher y'all could ever get the master. Get a test first, then y'all get that lesson after. Steve's never stressing them G's to freeze egos. Please, I just get them in threes, like the Migos. What's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome y'all back to the Diagnosis Success Podcast. I'm your host, K Sparks. It's a blessing to be a blessing, man. I hope y'all having a blessed week, and I just appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, we're going to get into the word of the day, something motivational, inspirational to get you through your day. And I love this word of the day, man. You know, I got my phone here, man, because I wrote it in here. It goes like this. Everyone is the villain in someone's book. Just make sure the author is telling the whole story. I'll say that again. Everyone is the villain in someone's book. Just make sure the author is telling the whole story. That's real talk. I think everybody can relate to that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter what you do for people, you can't please everybody. That's a fact, right? Like, you can do a million good things for a person, but mentally, all they're going to do is always harp on what they don't like about you, right? That's the tall tale sign of a person who ideally, they just want to see the worst in you as a person for whatever reason, right? Sometimes, like on the last episode, we said the people closest to the sun get blinded by it, right? So sometimes, no matter what good you do, no matter how much positivity you bring, people will always harp on the negative because that's just how they want to view you as a person, right? And guess what? At the end of the day, it is what it is, right? You can't convince everybody, and a lot of times in their book, you're going to continue to be the villain and you will forever be the villain. And some people are just like that, right? Like, it don't matter what it is. It's like they're always going to be right. You're always going to be wrong. They're always going to be perfect. You're always going to be imperfect no matter what you do. So keep it moving. At the end of the day, that's real talk. Can't make everybody happy. As long as you know at the end of the day that you tried your best, you're doing your best, and you're better than the person you was yesterday, that's the win-win, and that's the word of the day. But check this out, man. Got a fire interview right now. We about to get into some legends that I love, man. Hip-hop pioneers, classic. Y'all know the group, Digable Planets. I'm cool like that. Classic hip-hop jazz, man. So this is truly a blessing just to be able to chop it up with these icons, man. So we're going to get into this interview right now, man. If you like the Digable Planets, man, you love what they did for the culture and they continue to do for the culture, sound off below, man. And as always, much love.
Yeah. Go ahead, see.
And for me, I started off just listening, basically just started off. My mom was my DJ, you know what I'm saying? She contributed to the kind of music that I initially was drawn to. Soul, R&B, jazz, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. She would play in the house all the time, you know what I'm saying? And I would creep through her collection, and that piqued my interest. And then while this was happening out in the streets, you know what I'm saying, you got a burgeoning culture called hip-hop. I mean, it wasn't called hip-hop then, but we now know it as hip-hop was beginning to grow in the streets, you know what I'm saying, from house parties to block parties. And it just inspired me, you know what I'm saying, to want to get involved, you know what I mean? And I was super interested. Like, everybody around my way was people that I looked up to, like Perry P, Grandmasters of Funk, DJ Cosmic Kev, Cash Money, people like that, you know what I'm saying, that when I was growing up, these people was doing things that I was just like wishing I could do. And because of that, you know what I'm saying, it inspired me to want to get into hip hop and start as a DJ. Eventually, when I got to college, I began starting doing the rapping thing. And eventually I met up with this cool cat, you know what I'm saying, named Ishmael Butler, running around at these parties, college parties, all up and down the East Coast. And eventually we hooked up and started talking, and realized we had some commonalities in terms of music, people we knew. His peoples lived in the same neighborhood as mine, and it grew a kinship, and that kinship grew into him introducing me to this project he was working on called Digable Planets, and just grew from there.
Fire, man. What's up, King? What's your take on the history?
Yeah, so very similar. We grew up in the 80s, 70s and 80s. So we was both young kids coming up through, you know, in the aftermath of the 60s movements, you know what I mean? Civil rights movements, self-determination movements, political movements. So we was kind of, our OGs and the sisters that raised us, they soaked us in that type of mentality, you know? And then when hip hop came along, which was coming at the end of like, you know, the big group eras, like, you know, the Four Tops and 5 or 6 cats getting together, singing and dancing, the Supremes and all that, coming out of that, moving into a new phase of creative culture with hip hop. When I heard it, I was just like, it was just like a clarion call, you know, like, damn, that's really what I want to do. I want to participate with this, you know? Mm-hmm. So as a young man, like, I started off playing music in jazz band, playing saxophone. Hip hop came along. It was just something that seduced me. Like I wanted to be with it, do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? So getting into the late teens, start thinking like, damn, I might be able to, you know, I want to be in a group. I want to make music. I want to do like the cats that I love seeing doing it, you know? And so started dabbling with my bro's home studio, making beats and stuff. And basically living in Philly, between Philly, New York, DC, that was kind of our stomping grounds. We would go to those cities and live for a little while, or have girlfriends, or go to parties and stuff like that. And that's when I started seeing him around. And you know how when you're young, you know, that's how friendships grow. It's very natural. And just like you see a cat next to you know, you have a conversation. And then I shared the plan with him, and we was able to really make it flourish, because he knew Mec, because he was going to Howard for a little while. She's from DC. So that's how I met her, and we just started really brainstorming, really just with a dream, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was just a dream, really, like Biggie said, you know, and we was able to really make it a reality.
Fact, man. And you know, that's dope how y'all broke it down, because to me, like, it comes across like so organic and natural. Like sometimes you got groups, you know, a lot of times labels, they kind of like, they do it like a science project. Like they'll genetically engineer these groups, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But y'all's was natural. It was like a family, you know what I'm saying? It still is to this day, you know?
For sure. We definitely started out, because back then it's not like now, you know, like if you had a dream to put out a song, nowadays you could do the song at your house and it could be out by midnight tonight if you finish it. But then
Facts.
you couldn't, like, you could make a demo, but that didn't necessarily mean somebody was even going to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Much less want to rock with it or do anything with it. So making music at that time was purely passion. And your dreams of success, you knew it was a dice roll. You know what I'm saying? At best, you know what I mean? Everybody else knew around, your parents and everything was just like, you know what I'm saying? You better have something else to fall back on, because ain't nobody making it. So the fact that we sort of believed in it, put the energy to it, and then made it really happen is really, really, we were talking earlier saying it's like winning the lottery almost, you know what I mean? So, you know, we fortunate, we feel fortunate, and all that fortunateness we feel, we try to put it into the energy that we still have when we go do shows, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it gets tiring and arduous, you traveling and you got to get up early and do things you might not want to do at certain times and not, but at the end of the day, you think like, damn, no, this is everything I ever really wanted, and you back on track, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big facts, man. That's a fact. You know, one thing I wanted to ask y'all too, because I know jazz was like a big, huge part of y'all sound, y'all style. So, I mean, you know, they really regard jazz as like the mother of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So could y'all kind of just talk about how jazz impacted your sound and how that came about?
I think, again, like we before we was like conscious of anything, we was just absorbing, you know? And we was absorbing what our parents and then our immediate family and then our street family was talking about and into. Your older uncles, your older aunts, they having a house party, you sitting around just looking, soaking up game. What are they listening to? What are they playing? When your one cool uncle come around, oh, he like jazz, he's into this. What y'all talking about? You know? So we just getting exposed to all this stuff as youngsters. Jazz was always presented as like cool dudes, you know what I'm saying? They got the suits on, they got the hats, they playing horns, they smoking, they sitting around, they talk cool, they, you know what I mean? So it was like, man, you know, like it was intriguing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then when you hear the music, they bring it home with the music too. So it's just like that aesthetic is something that all young brothers really had to us to different degrees, you know. Once we start getting into the music, we kind of leaned into it as a crutch to like emulate that style, that sensibility, you know, and jazz does mimic hip hop in a lot of ways, or vice versa, because cats in a group, when it comes time for you to do your solo, you flex your own style, you know, that kind of those kind of similarities carry through in hip hop, and we just rode that wave and tried to like individualize it in a way, you know.
That's a big fact, man. And you know what? To elaborate on that too, because I notice like a lot of times with jazz music, the instrumentation, the way they would flip it a lot of times would be as if it's a vocal arrangement. So, you know, if a dude's playing the trumpet, that's gonna fill that space like vocals would on a hip hop track. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's so many different similarities just from the musicality of it. So I mean, the way y'all flip that, man, like I mean, so many tracks, man, timeless tracks. It's crazy, man. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely, man. So salute to y'all. And you know, and one of them tracks in particular, man, you know, talking about Rebirth of Slick, right? And in terms of that track, man, just how monumental that was, man. Like, I guess for all the listeners, man, like one of the questions we got, because we told the listeners in advance, like, hey, man, we got the GOATs coming on. Any questions y'all have? So one of the questions that kept coming up, they wanted to know what was the creative process like for y'all creating that record? Like, what was that like? How did it come about? Like, what was that like for y'all?
Actually, see, you should talk about that one, because it started out in, we said we met, when we both met, we was both doing hip hop. He had a group, I had this group. I'm thinking about this, so he could tell you the story. It's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, so I was in a group at the time called the Dread Poet Society, based out of Philadelphia, and we had our own little demo stuff on there. I met this cat, and he was doing his thing. He introduced me to a project he was trying to put together called Digable Planets. You know what I'm saying? And as we were talking, we were exchanging ideas, music, you know, stuff like that. And he came across a song that we were doing at the time. We called it a song called Skin Treatment. And you know, back in the day, the girls was called, you know, you would call them called getting skins. And so the song was about, you know, how we treated our, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the women, you know what I'm saying? So we call it Skin Treatment. But the song, the actual music was a sample of Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, which happened to be the same exact sample that turns out to be Cool Like That. Ishmael heard it and was like, yo, I love that joint. That joint is hot. And he asked if we could use it. And the group members was agreeing, they agreed to do it, you know what I'm saying? And he went in, put his little touch and his magic to it, and it became the song that everybody in the world knows today. You know what I mean?
Timeless record, man. Timeless record. Like everything, man. Even from the visuals, like that's a record that like everything just came together perfectly. Like from the visuals to the production to the raps, man. You know, timeless, man. Timeless, man.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you, man. Yeah, that was an ill time. We was so excited, bro. Like honestly, the first year of like making the music, cause like yo, like I'm telling you, never really knew what was gonna happen next. Like nowadays, you can kind of predict stuff. Like then, you couldn't predict nothing, bro. Like you didn't think your record was gonna get finished. When it got done, you was like something gonna happen to where we ain't gonna get to do no video or something. Then the video came out and it started getting on like Video Music Box and Rap City and all that. We was just like, nah, this got to be a dream, you know? Like, yeah, it was a wild time, man. And so much music back then too, like so many bands, so many great hip hop groups putting out music. It was like I look back at the contemporary stuff and it was just too much, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly. It was.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, but that's crazy though, because that shows you like destiny too, though. You know, like they got that saying, man. They say can't nobody block your blessing. You know what I mean? So it's like when something's meant for you, it don't even matter how the odds are stacked, how many other people doing the same thing. It's like what's meant for you is meant for you, man. Y'all was clearly meant to be here doing this because I mean, the music speaks for itself, and it still does. You know what I mean? So, you know, another question I have for y'all that a lot of people want to know. So the question was, the group won Best Rap Performance by a duo or group at the Grammys, and that was fire accomplishment. But despite the accolades, do you guys feel in some ways that was a blessing and a curse at the same time? Like Big say, more money, more problems, or more haters, more people feel away.
I don't know. Me personally, I look at it as more blessings. I mean, it was more blessing than a curse to me. You know what I'm saying? I can't recall anything that was outside of the fact that, a few people were kind of like, what I'm saying, upset at the fact that we won that award. And, but outside of that, I mean, man, that thing opened up so many doors for us and took the record and our career beyond my imagination. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it was more blessing than curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real. And like, if something happens to you, what it is a lot due to, is a result of the way you see it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody gonna always say something or feel some type of way about something, but how do you feel about it? What are you gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? And we never really got into it to win awards. Like, even back then, like, the Grammy was kind of like not even a real thought for a hip hop group. You know what I'm saying? I think we might have won the second or third Grammy at all. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, so we didn't really trip like that. We was happy and proud, but it didn't make or break us. We was doing what we love to do. So everything was a blessing. That's how we looked at it, like, and even to this day now, I'm very proud of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I got no problems with that blessing at all.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's a fact. That's a fact, man. And that, like you said, that's an accomplishment. Not everybody can say that. So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, that's a huge accomplishment. So another question I have for y'all kings. If y'all, now we call this the Back to the Future question, right? Like Marty and the DeLorean, all right? So if y'all could go back in time, right, and give y'all younger selves some advice, you could drop some gems on yourself. What would y'all tell y'all younger selves?
Yo, I be talking to myself for a long time.
My past self would be like, okay, man, what else you want to tell me? Like, personally, I probably would be like, I would have had investments. I would have made investments in things that would still to this day be having residual. You feel what I'm saying? Earlier in life,
Yeah. I think I would have told my younger self the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? There was a time when I had resources that I squandered. I mean, I don't really regret it. It is what it is, and it led me to who I am and where I am today. So I'm good with it. But if I had to tell myself something, I'd be like, yo, man, relax, chill, put some of this money aside. You know what I'm saying? Put some of this money aside, invest in things. Because I had, back in those days, there were people coming at me, but I just didn't, I was either, maybe it was scared money, or I just didn't trust it. I didn't understand the platforms they were talking, they were trying to utilize. So I didn't go with it. But I would tell myself, my younger self, yo, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid. Make good decisions and keep good people around you to help you. You know what I'm saying? Keep the machine going. You know what I'm saying? I just had a lot of people around me that was just wanted to party. You know what I'm saying? And that was cool too. I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. But I just definitely made better business decisions though.
That's a big fact, man. Like they say, knowledge is power. So a lot of times, we make decisions based upon what we know, and sometimes the scope is limited based upon the people around us. So, it's a saying, like they say, you hang around 5 broke people, you're going to be the 6th. But it's not just limited to money, right? If you hang around five broke people mentally, then they ain't going to help you elevate. So that's a fact. It's like, yeah, surrounding yourself with people too that, at the end of the day, yo, if you got a hammer, I got a screwdriver, we could build something together. You know what I'm saying? So it's real talks. That's real talks right there, man. Another question I have for y'all kings. What's a mantra that y'all live by? Like mine, I got 2 mantras. The first one is collaboration is greater than competition. I love building with like-minded people. And then my second one is persistence wears down resistance. So no matter what you go through, just got to keep forging ahead. So is it like a mantra that you guys got, man, that kind of throughout the years keep y'all focused, locked in, keep you going,
Man, so it's like you had time. It sounded like you had time to think about yours.
Yeah, you was good.
It's like you had a think tank and everybody that broke that shit.
Yo,
I had that as cool as that. Mine's would
I'm
probably
about to adapt. I'm about to adapt too.
Yo, it don't gotta rhyme either. It ain't gotta rhyme.
Now, only thing I would say is like, you know, it's not a mantra, but I try to think like this. I try to look at life like a child looks at life. I still try to have wonder and fascination with everyday things, you know, to make my life richer and to work, man. If you got a passion and you really want to see something happen, you got to understand it happens incrementally, not all at once, you know. So you get up, you learn something, you strive and you work, and some result is going to come of that. You know, whether it's the thing you envision, maybe not, but you're going to make some progress along the way and find out a lot about yourself and about the world.
Word. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
I would say mine's is simply stay true to yourself and stay open-minded. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yo, both of those is gems, man. And I think, especially now in today's society, when you look at the internet, you know, it's a great tool, but also it can be kind of destructive too. Like you see a lot of people always comparing themselves. You know, like they looking on social media, they seeing people flossing. People always posting their wins, but they don't post their losses. You know, so psychologically, you got people feeling away. So like you said, man, yo, you know, just run your own race and kind of just tap into that innocence like a child, like not to be so jaded, but just to see the world from a different view, you know, that you can still do something, you know what I mean? For y'all, man, we gonna switch it up, man. We gonna switch gears, man. Top 5 dead or alive. Who are y'all favorite 5 MCs, man?
All right. You ready, see?
Nah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. My favorite. I'm just now. Cats gotta understand. If people say their favorite, they're not saying they're the best 5 ever. These are my favorite. All right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Rakim. You could chime in too, because I might have to think too. I got Rakim.
Rakim is definitely on my list too. He's definitely
okay.
I'd say Rakim. I would say Melly Mel.
Okay.
I would say Nas. I'd say MC Light. And one more. I mean, it's hard because you know what I'm saying. Because I'm leaving out a gazillion other cats that I crazy respect for. And then
you know who I got to put on my list is Run.
Run,
yeah. Really understand how Run really.
Them as a group, I was thinking of them because as a group, they my favorite all-time group hip hop for real.
Well, that was the second question I'm gonna ask you after this. Who's y'all favorite groups? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, damn. Yeah. I really like Big.
Yeah.
I like Ice Cube.
Yeah, me too.
I like Rock Marciano.
Yeah.
And Nas, Nas, like Nas. I'm gonna just
hard, man. It's hard because we can actually do a top 5 of each generation because it's hard. Sometimes you forget. You talk about all the ones that's like right here in your face now. Like you could say the Jay-Z's, you could say, you know what I'm saying, the Kendrick Lamar's, but then if you didn't lose, you forget about the Melly Mels, who was an incredible Grandmaster Caz's. You know what I'm saying? We can't. It's hard, man. It's hard. 5 is not enough, man.
Yeah. Plus, all them cats from back then, we got to understand everything that Cass is doing now that you might like is all based on these cats that didn't have no predecessors. They really just thought of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just like, it's a double impact. And when we was young, we remember the first rapper. Like, I could tell you now, like, I mean, Sugar Hill Gang, them brothers, like, they turned it out. Like, you know, like, without them, it's nothing going on, really. You know what I mean? So, but those 5, they stick out to me. I give them. I stop there. I don't know what else.
All right. So the next question, like I told y'all, who's y'all top 5 groups, hip hop groups that y'all think?
I say, definitely Run DMC. I say De La Soul.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to the God that passed away.
And I'm just gonna say native tongues because I could use up this entire list just on the native tongues like Jungle Brothers. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of them. So I'm just gonna say native tongues is one of them. Yeah, tribes, like so many of them. So I'm just gonna say native tongues. I'm gonna say Run DMC. I'm gonna say Mobb Deep.
Outkast,
definitely Outkast.
NWA.
NWA. Freestyle Fellowship was one of my favorites. Oh man.
You got the Wu. Got Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah, you got the Wu. Come on, you got the Wu.
Yo,
the Wu.
Yeah.
Damn, it's a bunch of groups, man, that I love, man.
But that right there, that's a solid, that's Who you got? Fact. Who you got? Who you always be ready, man. Who you got?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo. All right, so yo, my favorite, man, the Wu at the top. You know what I'm saying? Just because, yo, man, so much talent in that group, man. Raekwon, Method Man, you know what I'm saying? Like RZA, it's crazy. I like the Locks, man. You know, coming from New York, like that's what we was bumping, man. LOX, living off experience. You know, Jada, Kiss, Styles, man. And I always felt like Styles didn't get the credit he deserved, man. You know, just because, being in the group with Kiss, man, Kiss got a lot of accolades, but Styles is nasty too. So yeah, the Locks. Let me see, Wu-Tang. Who else, man? Down South, man. Outkast. I feel like those cats, man, super talented, man. I think like 3 Stacks, man, like that. The way that dude pins like his words and puts it together, man, he's so intricate. Like he's a monster, man. Like super talented. That's 3. Let me see. I got 2 more. Yo, man, Digable Planets, man. I gotta put y'all in there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk, because like for me growing up, yo, that was the shit that I was bumping all the time, man. Like all of that, man. All y'all records and stuff like that, man. I think like y'all were really like just groundbreakers, man. You know what I'm saying? So salute to y'all. And that last spot, man, this is hard, man. The last one, man. I feel like y'all. I try to pick the last spot, man. Damn, if I had to pick a last spot, man, who would it be, man? I'm gonna do like you said, native tongues, man, because Tribe Called Quest, that whole just crew, man, just dynamic, and just making solid music, man, consistently. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Fife, but yeah, just fire, man, fire. So
rest in peace to Trugoy.
Yeah, definitely, man. So that's real talk, man. Real talk, Kings. So a question I have for y'all, man, because we got like technology changed so much, man. Like we seen like a lot of errors. We saw, MySpace come and go. Then it was Facebook. Then you got Instagram. So, the question I wanted to ask y'all is like, how has technology impacted y'all art? Because when you guys came out, all this stuff wasn't out. I mean, it was just the music spoke for itself. Nowadays you got the streaming era, all these things. So how has things transitioned for you guys in this quote unquote new era?
We haven't really utilized it as a group that much. Individually, we both have, projects that we've been able to realize really through like independent production and release. You know what I'm saying? Which wasn't something you could really do back then, because the mechanism to releasing wasn't, you upload some shit. You know what I'm saying? You had to get a physical copy of something and it had to be taken to a DJ at a radio station and he would have to play it, period. You know what I mean? So that freedom is big, but anytime you get a bunch of freedom, then you get an inundation of a lot of people that would have got weeded out because of quality concerns, or maybe even if they was good enough, they didn't have a certain connection or something. So it just broadened the space in which people can participate, which makes it harder to rise. But, I feel like it is what it is. I don't really look at it as a bad thing or a good thing, but just a real thing. And
oh, we lost our man. Technical difficulties, man. he'll, I'm sure he'll tap back in. We lost him though, but you want to pick it up, King. In the meantime,
I mean, the cream will rise to the top. I mean, like he was saying, I mean, you do have the inundation, but the cream always rises to the top. You know what I mean? We find the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And there's definitely stuff that gets lost in the internet because it's so vast. It's like a universe within itself. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You can get lost in that world, man. It takes a lot more money nowadays to get your record out. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it a lot more you got to be a lot more self-sustaining nowadays than you had to back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days was about relationships. I mean, it's still about relationships, but back then you had to know somebody to get you into the door of these record companies. You know what I'm saying? Or have this particular A&R listen to your record. You know what I'm saying? And then give you an opportunity to put the record out. You know what I'm saying? Because it was only a few independent-minded hustlers like Too Short, Schoolie D, people like that who thought in the way of being independent. You know what I'm saying? Those cats, when they first came out, they changed the entire game, because not only did they put music out, but they put it out themselves. And nowadays, that's what everybody, it's like what everybody do. But back then, that wasn't something that everybody did. You know what I mean? First of all, you didn't have the money to do it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, to be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? So when those cats did it, that was crazy game changing, man, because it took a lot. Back in those, you had to grease certain radio station DJs' palms to get your record played. You know, all the competition with all the distribution. You know what I'm saying? Certain group of people, mafia type motherfuckers, had control over distribution and blah 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 blah. It was hard to break through. You know what I'm saying? Unless you was a part of a major label. And you don't need them. You know what I'm saying? But they've watered it down with the streaming thing, because now everybody can get your music. One person can pay $9.99 and can listen to all the music they want all day, which as a consumer is great. Like, I'm like, whoa, that's dope. I want that. But as an artist, like, oh shit, what the fuck? Wait a minute. These motherfuckers can pay $9.99 and hear my music all day long, and all I get is like what, 5 cents?
If that, yeah, it's like a fraction of a penny. Yeah, man.
That's the crazy part of modern day music. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to back in the day. You know what I mean? It's easier, but at the same time, we still got mad things that we got to get over. Like, this is a mad obstacle right here. I don't know how we're gonna get past this, because the record labels and all these other companies are so entrenched with these streaming services. The artist is getting fucked. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk. I agree with you 110%, man. And you know that, like you said, for the consumer, that's good money. It's like, I paid $10. It's like a buffet, all you can eat. I'm getting some of this. You know, that's real talk. It's like, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, it's all you can eat for them. But what about the chef? You know what I'm saying? That's cooking it up. You feel me? Like, that's crazy, man. Like, I feel like, the rate of consumption with music, like nowadays, like it's a depreciation of it. And people don't get that, like for artists still got to sustain a lifestyle. And the fact that, you got to get so many streams just to get a fraction of a penny is disrespectful, man. You know what I'm saying? And the labels don't care, because at the end of the day, they got so many artists, they'll make a decent return on that. But for the individual artists, they ain't jacking it, man.
Yeah, because I mean, for real, on the low, I think these labels have secret deals with these streaming services.
Of course.
Because they getting paid. These motherfuckers is getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
But it's getting raped, man. It's terrible, man. It's terrible.
Yo, real talk, man. I tell you, man, I had put out a couple of tracks, and the labels that I had signed some of those deals with for some songs that, we put out through our company, whatever, for like TV and film. They told us straight up, we got deals with some of these streaming services, whether it's, this one or that one, where we get primetime placement. So they cutting deals on the side to get songs placed so they can get more streams. And that's what it is. It's all politics. You know what I'm saying? But, I think ultimately things need to change where it's equitable across the board. I saw Most he did Talib's podcast, and Most was talking about it. And he was spitting all facts. He was like, I forgot how he said it. He was like, I don't know who did this Dr. Seuss, Dr. Doolittle mathematics to decide you get a fraction of a penny for your music. But he's like, don't disrespect my art, B. And he absolutely right. You know what I'm saying?
Actual facts.